Welcome to Elevate with Elsner. Join us for inspiring conversations with individuals who have transformed their lives and are making a difference through the work that they do. And now, here's your host, Blake Elsner.
Welcome back to another episode of Elevate with Elsner. I'm your host, Blake Elsner, and I'm beyond excited to bring you today's guest, someone who's not just elevating his own life, but has been instrumental in elevating countless others along the way. Joining us today is Lewis Vandervalk, a true visionary, a serial entrepreneur, and published author based in New Brunswick, Canada. Lewis has an impressive background in construction and trades, coupled with a degree in mechanical engineering. But it doesn't stop there. Lewis is the perfect example of how passion and perseverance can lead you to incredible places. Without any formal business or sales experience, he launched a digital marketing business in 2009, focused on helping contractors achieve results-driven growth. As the owner of Blue Crocus Solutions, Lewis specializes in web design and SEO for contractors, delivering real measurable impact for his clients. In May of 21, he took his expertise a step further by partnering with a local junk removal company, driving extreme growth through his proven marketing strategies. Lewis is someone who has truly embraced the roller coaster of business and personal development, surrounding himself with coaches and mentors to sharpen his skills and deepen his impact. His journey is packed with lessons, insights, and takeaways that will resonate with anyone looking to elevate themselves in business or in life. So get ready for an inspiring conversation as we dive into Lewis's entrepreneurial journey, his successes, challenges, and the strategies that have fueled his growth. So let's get started. Welcome.
My man, that's a lot. That's a big introduction to live up to. I appreciate it.
That's right. I like to get it going. So give us a little insight into that guy.
That guy, well, grew up on we can kind of take it back to the start. And I think this is probably where it did start, the drive to keep going, the drive to work through the hardships and whatnot. Grew up on a farm, was doing, it didn't really have summers off, really, can't ever really remember summer being taken off. We worked on the farm for, as early as I can remember. Got into construction, building fences, doing roofing, that sort of thing on the farm and keeping myself busy in the summer. Through high school, I did that. After high school, I did that for 4 years, roofing, plumbing, installing pools, just kept busy. At one point I was working from like 5:30 to 11:30, paying off some debt that I had incurred through a few different things. And then one of them was I wrecked a friend's car that I was borrowing to go visit a girlfriend like 3 hours away. So I had to pay off the car, basically buy him a new car, then buy myself a car. So yeah, just kept busy doing that. And then realized that I needed to, kind of get something planned for the future if I wanted to, find a wife, start a family, and go that route. So, none of my family had gone to school, university, college, and one of my cousins had. And I was like, well, maybe that's the path to, riches, right? That's what everyone says. And so, he did computer science. He basically said, you like science, you like fixing things. You kind of like math, so mechanical engineering you should try. So I just applied. I needed like an extra calculus credit. Did that over the summer, and then got in 2014 as a mature student, which was an interesting experience. Jumping in with a bunch of youngsters who were starting freshman year. But jumped in, did the degree, got a job my second summer. So I did construction my first summer. In university, and then got a job in mechanical engineering design the second summer. So paid my way through university with that, paid for our marriage, paid for the proposal, all of that stuff in opposite order, proposal and then marriage. Yeah. And then when I graduated in 2019, we had our first kid 2 months after I graduated. And I realized really quickly, I liked the engineering design. I found it stimulating. I found it, it was always something different every day. I was doing a really cool job designing aftermarket parts for people who are handicapped to be able to drive vehicles. So like hand controls was the main thing. And then there's all the, you push for brake, you pull back for accelerator, and they're attached to the pedals. So that if you can't use your legs, you can still drive a car. Super cool thing. And then, people who are amputated, amputees would have like special cups we would design and 3D print to fit their their stub basically. And so did that, was enjoying that, but realized, this again, looking at my future, I was like, I don't know if this is the flexibility that I need. At the time I knew we wanted 4 kids. We have 4 kids now. And that's a lot of going to games and a lot of, appointments and all of that I was like, I don't know if I can have the flexibility or the income, cap that I need to, feed 4 hungry monsters. And so I started looking at, other ways to make money. And I was thinking at the time of just doing a side hustle and supplementing the income. And so I started looking online. Drop shipping was something I'd been exposed to in university. Had a classmate of mine who was doing like $30K a month in drop shipping. And I was like, that's insane. Like, I'd never heard of money like that being made per month by one person. Now I know, it wasn't all profit, but it still like set me on that path. So I started looking at that. I went down the path there, realized drop shipping wasn't for me. I just couldn't push consumerism on people like that consistently. But I started being shown all the ads on Facebook for every type of, marketing thing under the sun. And one of them landed with me. One of them resonated. It basically combined the concept of contractors. So you build a website, get leads coming in, and then, basically sell them to contractors. And so I was like, I can do that. And so that's how I learned SEO, was doing that. My first one was a snow removal site. And then I did masonry. I did, carpentry. I did home remodeling, bathroom renovations. I built like 100 sites within the first year, doing just that, building them out and then ranking them and, renting the leads out to contractors. In the process, I started meeting people, started doing SEO directly for their business, kind of shifted to that after about 2 years to more just working directly with someone's brand. And then, kept honing those skills. Then a junk removal company opportunity kind of came up in 2021. Started that with a buddy of mine from university. We took over the market, got it up to like, I think in the first, I always get the numbers a little foggy, but within the first 4 to 6 months, we were up to like 30K per month. First year, we were up to like 60 to 70K per month doing junk removal and demolition. And so it really embedded us in the junk removal industry and niche and groups as someone who knew what they were talking about. So junk removal became a really big niche that we started playing in as an agency as well. I moved away from the junk removal company in about 2023 or 4. I guess it was 2023 that I moved away from that because I needed to focus back on the agency. I kept going in junk removal. You and I were just talking. We know a mutual friend who does junk removal. But that's kind of been the journey, man. Still going strong in the agency, working with home service as a general niche, and then a lot of junk removal, plumbers, asphalt paving companies, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's one thing that you and I both know, that people have a lot of junk. People like to hoard stuff, and I go in houses all the time, and I'm like, oh boy, someone's gonna have to clean this out, and that industry is very smart. And the mutual friend we have, we could say Jack Lauber and Mason Hudson, who own American Junkers, they've built, like you say, a tremendous business, and they saw that and the amount of junk and realized, wow, we could build a whole entire business. But obviously yourself having 4 kids, you kind of had to go, wow, I gotta find some more time for the kids and make sure, all the games and whatnot. So how'd you pivot into like the back into the marketing side?
Yeah, I guess I skipped a step there. So I started August 1st of 2019, pivoting into marketing, learning it. I didn't know anything I knew a bit about marketing because I'd done some side hustles, grew an Instagram account doing blacksmithing to like 2K followers back in 2017, I think. So I kind of like started to love that marketing aspect, but didn't know anything about online stuff as far as websites and SEO. So I jumped in August 1st of 2019. And by August 22nd of 2019, so like 22 days later, I was let go of my engineering job. And what happened was excuse me, I started, being exposed to this whole entrepreneurial community I'd never been exposed to before. And everybody was like, read the 4-Hour Work Week and yada, yada. Well, that book cost me my job. I'm really grateful it did. But basically, he was like, a concept in there was like, if you know you need to be making more, if you know you want something in life, go get it. Go ask for it. And so I got to that point in the book and I was like, man, like I really need to be making more in my job. And I know I can be because I've been working here for 4 years at that time, I think. And my friends were graduating from university with no experience and doing like a bunch more than I was, making a bunch more than I was. So I was like, hey, I should just go ask. And I did. And I was like, I need to be making this much. Or, we should talk about, what that could look like. And that was on a Tuesday. On a Thursday, he was like, come back to me Thursday and we'll chat. I'll chat with my dad and we'll go through it. I go into his office and he's like, yep, so you're done. Pack up tomorrow and you're out of here. We just can't make it work. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I have a newborn. Like, can we talk about this at all? I probably would have played my cards differently if it were me now, but it's the best thing that happened to me because I might still have been at that job now because it was comfortable. And it was uncomfortable to think about doing anything else, but my hand was forced. And at that point, like, it convinced Alyssa that no career is permanent either. No matter how permanent you think it is, like, nothing is permanent in life. You have to be able to figure out and pivot and move and go from there.
Yeah, and sometimes we do things like out of scarcity because I'm there too. It's kind of like when your heart and your mind aren't there, just not going to work out, and you just do it just to pay the bills, just to keep going. And then it's like the universe kind of rewards you in a strange way. Like you say, you lose your job, but then at the same time you're kind of like, hell yeah! Like it's one of those things that you don't realize it happens for the benefit of yourself and your family.
It was equal parts sheer panic and relief when he told me that. But like, it's like the weirdest mixture of emotions I felt. Because like, I didn't really want to convince him too hard for me to stay. Because I was like, what if he says I can? Like, I'll probably take it. And then I just like asked him a couple of things, and he's like, no, like, I'm going out on paternity leave soon, so I can't like monitor your projects. I was like, all right, cool, I'll come in tomorrow and pack up. And then it was a 20-minute drive home to just like go tell my wife that you have a 2-month-old baby and I just lost my job.
That's sometimes they say, hey, like things happen for a reason. I mean, it, not a great time with a 2-month-old, but look at you now. Here you are with what, four healthy kids and a great
four monsters,
job.
as I expected. Eating us out of house and home.
You know how it is. The time I was telling you, gosh, we were down with the flu for a little while, and that was rough. I'm like, I don't like all those germs. So
it's nonstop for sure.
Yeah, it really is. So you went the mechanical engineering side. That's pretty cool that you did that because there is a lot of purpose in that. Obviously, you tried to figure out how to get your heart into it by helping people who needed those designs or those implementations on the car. Like that obviously shows a lot of purpose. So you had to continue in that path of trying to figure out how to help people. So SEO and the marketing was the way to go, huh?
Yeah, I just felt it. I mean, the ad worked on me. I think I still have the ad copy saved somewhere, because it just worked. It like made so much sense to me because I knew contracting, construction. I'd been in that world. And I knew that, a lot of people in that world knew absolutely nothing about the online space. And so it made sense to me. And again, I wanted to help exactly like you're saying and make a difference in someone's life, not just sell you the latest, slime color on Alibaba, right? Through drop shipping. I
know how that drop shipping is. I had a relative do that, and you're like, wow,
yeah, nothing wrong
impressive.
with it. I just couldn't get behind it and doing that grind over and over.
Yeah, and then you see, some of these, obviously people caught on to that stuff, or the corporations caught on to it. So I think it's gotten a little more challenging. You don't hear about the drop shipping as much anymore.
Well, Facebook ads became way more difficult and really knocked a lot of people out, I think.
Yeah, that's spot on. As somebody that knows, you'd be the one. So how do you help? Like, what's your specialty? If you got a contractor or junk company that comes up to you and they say, man, I need some leads, and it's like you got to start right with the big bad wolf of Google, right?
Yeah, so we play on Google. That's our sandbox. And with us, we're selling a compound interest dream is essentially what SEO is. It doesn't have to be a dream, but I'm selling something that they can't tangibly touch. I can't tell you in 2 weeks you're going to get X number of leads because we're just going to turn on the faucet. What we're doing is saying, hey, I can do work that even if you end up leaving us, it still is going to stick on your website. Whereas Google ads or Facebook ads, you turn them off. You've just, turned your faucet of leads off, and you now no longer see the result of that money working for you continuously. So that is exactly what we do, is help someone get to where when someone searches for roofing near me or plumbing near me or junk removal near me, they're the ones that show up in, preferably the top 3 spots for the keywords that people are searching for, so that they click on their website or their Google business profile, they call them, they have a chance to land that job and make that money. That's exactly what it is. So it's basically building up their website, their online presence, their authority, so that they can earn a top spot. You can game the system, but you're not going to earn a long-term spot at the at the winners table if you game the system. It's going to catch up with you eventually.
And it's kind of like no matter how pretty or decked out the website is, it really doesn't matter, right, per se, when it comes to
it's certainly not the only thing. I've got some really, really ugly roofing sites. I've got an ugly roofing and an ugly decking site that I built in 2019 myself on Weebly, and they're still live here in my city, and they're still pulling in leads. I still have 5 websites rented out, and they look awful, but they get leads, and they're ranked number 1. And so I'm not going to change it because it doesn't gain me anything, and it's kind of a cool case study to show people hey, it doesn't matter how amazing your site looks. Has it earned the authority to be something that Google shows? Because Google's selfish, essentially. Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, they want people to use their search engine. They get money from ads. They get money from a bunch of different things. And so if they can do their best to show the most useful stuff to consumers, they're going to keep them on their platform longer. So ultimately, you want to play to the consumers inside Google's rules.
And when Google, obviously, some people might not know this. I know you would know this, that Google owns YouTube. So what is it? Some crazy statistic when somebody Googles you, there's an X amount of short reels or videos. How does that exactly work?
Well, there's so people think of your website or your Google business profile being at the top, but you can have a ton of different properties at the top. YouTube is one. So if you have a presence on YouTube, you can show up at the in the top results. I like to say, what if you could take up the whole first page? That's kind of where you want to be thinking about as a business, not just, hey, can I take one keyword in the top? But if you take up the whole first page, maybe your LinkedIn page as a business is ranking, maybe your Facebook page, maybe your YouTube channel, your Google business profile, your website. We've had 3 different pages on a website take up 3 different spots on a page because they all had related but different keywords that were ranking for a term someone was searching for. So if you can think about it that way, again, it's earning your spot as the authority in your market for that service.
And I noticed you got to keep, you got to post pictures on your Google business profile. And is there something they say, I always heard about, I don't know if this was just pushed from a lot of agencies in the beginning, but they always talked about the Google, to be at the Google top, or be at Google's the top, to be on the map. And then there was a third thing. There was the 3 things of Google you wanted to be. And now you see that Google screened or whatnot. So I know that's paid for. But
yeah,
organic wise.
Google Maps and the website, the Snap Pack or the Map Pack, people call it a bunch of different things. But those, unless I'm just having a complete brain fart, but I
think it's the map.
I work in that sandbox.
On the side, on the map.
Yes. Now it's just the maps and the yeah.
So that's always. I just heard that always being pushed through, the agencies, and when it kind of started popping up, in 2019 or during, I guess, the COVID years, as people sat on computers. So give us some case studies. Give me a good case study. You just did the roofing one where I'm sure it's just a 3-step or a 4-step form and they click submit, but
it is. It looks ugly. It looks really ugly. Yeah, we've got the roofing one. We've got obviously the junk removal one here, still crushing it. We've got a decking one, and I think I've got an excavating one as well. That's just kind of sitting there. It doesn't really get any leads, but it's ranking. It's just not it's a very word of mouth market here for that. But and then there's clients. If we look at other clients around, I wouldn't be doing a very good job if just my properties were the ones that are ranking. But San Diego junk removal, some of the different, pretty competitive terms are ones that we've gone after for clients and helped them take over. And again, it's how have they earned their spot at the top? We've helped add fuel to that fire, but they've done a good job on social media, or they've done a good job giving us pictures or videos or content to use to help them, really get to where they need to be.
Yeah, I like the content part, because that seems to be when I go on Google, and if I type in my name, I feel like I see, the other podcasts I've been on, or like if I type in your name after this podcast launches, it comes down on my short reel clips and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it just, like you're saying, it's building your brand.
So one thing people don't understand is that Google, you brought up a really good point. So like Blake Elsner, if you search that, right, or if you search Lewis, or you search, your real estate company, the more chances you can show up on all these different platforms, whether it be, someone shares your website to Facebook, or whether they, you go on a podcast, or, you get featured in a reel, or you get featured in a best of directory locally, or you're in your chamber of commerce. Those are all points that Google can look at, and it sees your name, it sees your website, it sees your phone number, it sees your address matching up. And it's starting to build that trust and that authority with Google around, okay, this is legit. Other people are saying it's legit. Other people are linking back to you. There's all this magic that's happening, showing Google that, you are, it's like check marks and votes towards your brand and your authority.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if you played baseball back in the day. I remember like Perfect Game and all those scouting websites. I kind of picture that as like an early form of like brand awareness. Do you kind of ever think about like those like scouting websites as kind of a start of some of like the, I don't want to say SEO, but like you built like a Perfect Game profile, and like you would rank yourself on Google if you were a better player, if you're throwing 90 miles an hour, etc.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't, understand the baseball analogy, having like lived it or done it. But yeah, that's exactly right. Like now it's just a bigger and more complex algorithm that has more data points that's being used, but it's like exact same concept.
Yeah. So just obviously I love the, put you on the whole first page is kind of a thing, I guess, a goal.
Kind of
right?
the dream, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, SEO's dead. I think our clients would disagree.
Yeah.
It's a real thing still. It's dead because they maybe tried it for a few months with someone that didn't know what they were doing, and it just, it didn't work. And they were like, oh, I invested a bunch of money. Like we have it so that we didn't do this at the beginning, but we get clients to stick around for at least 6 months, because what happens is if they jump out too early, yes, they've invested a fair amount, but then they just haven't seen any result. Are you going to invest a bunch in the stock market and then pull it out 2 months later?
Yeah.
No.
It's like not going to day trade on your marketing. I know that's the, yeah, you have to be. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you have to be in there for the long haul. And a lot of the top SEO individuals like yourself, yeah, they understand that, because it's a big part of staying in front of people. But yeah, you also have to do your own job too, right? It's like you're not just,
and there's stuff you can do before you hire someone too.
That is true. So what would you say, like one of your as we kind of wrap it up, it would be your biggest lesson, I would say, learned from your time through, even from university all the way up to where you are now, like advice, I guess you would say?
Well, one, get a cough drop before you hop on a podcast. That's a good one, because I'm dying over here, but I think I'm holding it together okay.
Oh yeah.
The other one would be imperfect action beats perfect inaction. That's something that I actually heard from that group that I jumped into in 2019, and I really, that was like a big leaping point for me. University was my first one, really expanded my horizons, and then jumping into that mastermind that I did in 2019 to basically learn everything I know about, set the foundation anyway for what I know about SEO. The guy in there teaching was basically like imperfect action beats perfect inaction every day of the week. And that's hard when you're starting out, because you want to analyze and you want to procrastinate productively by mentally masturbating and figuring out exactly what you need to be doing, right? We all do it. And that helped me kind of just take action and not really care about the results. And then the results followed, or not really care if I did it perfectly, I think is a better way to say it. And then the results just happen, and you learn along the way, way more than you do by planning before it happens.
Yeah, and it's a good part to or point to say, like, hey, you do have to stick around. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, that type of stuff. Like, you do have to put in the work. Like, got to show up.
I feel like I'm just starting still. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm 5+ years into the agency, and I feel like I'm just starting, which is crazy. But it's like also that momentum has built over 5 years, and like clients that I sent prospects that I sent proposals to like 4 years ago are reaching back out, and they've been through 3 agencies since then, and they're like, hey, we're ready to go. We've tried everything that was cheaper than you and didn't work, and we're ready now to go. And so it's you got to stick in the game too.
Yeah, and clearly it's a passion, because when you are obviously a passion and a purpose, because I always say when somebody says like, hey, it feels like your first day of just doing it for 5 years, clearly you love what you're doing, because it doesn't feel like work, right?
Yeah, I suppose I'd be here like, man, Blake, like when I can get out of this SEO game, make enough money and go live on the beach, I'm going to be so glad, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's why luckily you got fired from your engineering job, because I'm sure that's what would be happening, right? Had you not been here, you just would have been scarcity, complacent, and you would have probably been perfectly fine, right? But you might not have been as happy.
Yeah. It's actually crazy to think about it.
Yeah,
it's crazy to think about. Like that was the biggest turning point, and then launching into this. But crazy looking at the little timeline, milestones.
Yeah. So what would you say, the future of Blue CS, as I call it, solutions, right? Your it's Blue Crocus. How do you exactly say that?
Blue Crocus, like the flower.
Crocus, like the flower. Blue Crocus. Oh, duh. Blue Crocus Solutions. And so what would you say the vision of that? Yeah. Like what?
Yeah. The vision I have is to, I have to keep pushing the vision to be bigger than my teams. So I have a pretty big revenue goal in the next 5 years, which, has to be backed by results for clients, which leads to referrals, which leads to, continuing to expand our network and our marketing and whatnot. But more than that, it's to, continue to stay on the cutting edge, continue to, do the foundational stuff. But, the SEO game is changing. It always has been since I got into it, and it will continue to. But there's a lot of exciting stuff happening with AI. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening with all of that. Some which you need to grab onto, some of which you have to kind of, wait until it gets developed, and some of which, you still need to hit the foundational stuff. So making that balance, who knows where we'll be in 5 years, but we're going to figure it out along the way, and make sure that we're still offering value to clients and coming up with some way to continue to do that.
Yeah, I love that. Because everything's always changing, and every time I look at Crocus, I think of Crocs. So maybe Croc will call up and they want you to do their
maybe there's a rebrand.
Right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Blue Croc, right? Yeah, I know my kid has Crocs.
We'll just call it Blue Crocs, and then they'll try and sue us, and then we'll say, "Oh, we can do your marketing."
I know a very high company that was in a similar situation like that, and it's a very generic term. So yeah, it's very funny how that works. But yeah, so
I'll play it up and be like, no, actually, I'm just trying to get your attention for marketing.
Yeah, no, exactly. I love that. Well, Lewis, it's been a pleasure having you on here, and obviously your story is a testament to the power of perseverance, adaptability, and surrounding yourself with the right people, because clearly that's what you've done. The universe is obviously taking you to the right spot. So it's awesome to have you on here. And I appreciate you, describing SEO and website and kind of giving people information that they can take and improve their lives.
Appreciate it, man. No, it's a blast coming on. And if nothing else, let's make Crocs great again.
Yeah, let's make Crocs get. Hey, I love Crocs. I'll slip those things on, take the trash out real fast.
I'm a fan.
They're like minivans, about as practical as they come. So
this is your engagement hack for this episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully people Crocs or not, drop it in the comments, guys.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to get a hold of Lewis, all his links are in the show notes. So, as always, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Elevate with Elsner. If this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who needs a little extra motivation today. So keep elevating your life and your business. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. And if you feel so inclined, please leave us a review and tell your friends about the show. Until next time,